Oh yes, we should get, before we forget, permission to use this interview. You don't necessarily need it, but I need it if it's to put on television. So it's sort of interesting. I mean, although I blame Canada Canada gets the money from the exploitation of the tar sands, but most of the oil is going down to the States. So how do you really assess the carbon? It's the same with your oil. Are you just supplying it in Ecuador?
No, we depend on oil exports. So in Ecuador, we are changing the energy matrix, and right now we are making it to be mostly renewable, mostly hydroelectric, and then we also have a 10% of other kinds of renewable energy. So nationally, we are changing the energy matrix, and then we do export.
Well, it's like Venezuela, I think, is 80%. I don't think many people know that. I just found that out the other day, that Venezuela is 80% hydroelectric.
And a lot of our countries are doing things in the mitigation and in the adaptation fund. For example, Ecuador, the energy matrix in the Galapagos Islands, for example, we have zero fossil fuel initiative. So Galapagos is going to be all renewable. We are already paying for conservation. We have one of the highest deforestation rates, but a year ago we started with a policy where we have an incentive-based, sort of like RED, mechanism for conservation. Although we don't only consider carbon, but we consider poverty levels as one of the criteria, and also environmental services, biodiversity, water, and carbon. So we are already protecting around 400,000 hectares and giving that money to the people. So we're all doing that, and we are doing that with public funds and with actions that are actually within our national development strategy. So, of course, we do want to do more. So that's when we say, okay, where is the finance I need? Where is the technology I need? Mm-hmm. I want to do more. Like in Ecuador, there is a lot of political will to fight against climate change. But
now, one other thing I remember reading was that there's an area in Ecuador. Now I've probably got this. Maybe we should turn this off a minute. That the U.S. the U.S. ambassador, I think, was suggesting that a certain part of Ecuador be separated in some way from it. There's an area that I can't remember the name of it, but I remember reading about it. Do you know what I'm referring?
Maybe what we had was a military base.
Was it a U.S. military?
Colombia, yes, but they are not there anymore.
No, it was something else, and I remember thinking that this was absolutely outrageous. That I think it was in the oil area that the U.S. ambassador was proposing giving it another name or something. Oh,
really? I have no idea.
Oh, there was some absolutely insane proposal. Well, we won't have. Oh, you're taping that.
No, I do want to say in the end that right now, because of this is the greatest challenge that humanity faces, and we all talk about political will here, but it is not a matter of only political will of congresses or leaders or whatever. It is a matter of social responsibility.
It's a duty.
Exactly.
It's a duty.
And I believe we're all forgetting about that.
And I just had an email from this very well-known professor, Bill Rees, in Canada. He's the one that came up with the concept of the ecological footprint. And he had drafted a paper saying, is Canada criminally negligent? And over this issue. And I wrote to him and mentioned that I had raised that issue at one of the press conferences. And he wrote back and said, you know, what we really need is to have in international law a duty. Perhaps that's a better way of expressing it. It is a fundamental duty as a result of
The
what
commitments that you have, that we all have under the convention, are duties.
our duties and
We're all
obligations,
forgetting
and they have to be discharged. And for years, the Framework Convention of Climate Change was in place. It's got 192 signatories now, but in 1994 it came into force, and it had the precautionary principle in it. We don't have to wait until there's scientific certainty that climate change will occur for us to act, and yet we still have the deniers. Now, are there deniers in Ecuador, or do you feel that people there
I don't
are?
think that there are that many.
It's not like the U.S. I think they said 50% of the people are deniers, and
I will have to make, I think coming back, I will have to make a poll to see exactly what the numbers are, but I don't think that.
no, I
I
think
haven't
they
met
recognize it
that
there. I
many-
think they know it's an issue.
That many deniers. I don't know.
Well, this has been great.
Thank you.